Hi there. Welcome to Flow into Authenticity. My name's Esther, artist and creative coach. My hope is that through these videos, you'll be able to connect more to your creative flow, move through any blocks that are holding you back, and really begin to create from your true authentic self. Please remember to like and subscribe if you're enjoying this content so you can get anything new and fresh that comes out when I put it out. Thanks so much for being here. Hi everyone. Today I want to talk about how to get out of what I call the creative guilt cycle. And I did a post yesterday which had so many comments from you all about getting stuck in the negativity while we're trying to create, right? And so this can look like, you have this desire to create, then you go to create and your negative voices kind of come in. And usually it's because we have some kind of expectation around how things should look, or things like, I'm not good enough, this should look like this, I should be doing it faster. All these kind of imposter syndrome things. I'm going to talk about how to get from there to being able to show compassion. Compassion, play, exploration is really the key. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how I do this with my clients and how can you can do this too and begin. It's really a practice. Those voices are probably never going to go away completely, but you can begin to soften them, right? And to move through them with ease. And so let me just begin to kind of talk about why we get stuck in this cycle. And really it comes down to our subconscious. So the reason why these negative voices are so strong is that they're coming from our subconscious. So when we're very young, all of us want to express ourselves. So even when we're babies, even like pulling hair or grabbing things, that is actually our essence, wanting to individuate, wanting to express ourselves. So this is a very core need, y'all. It's not gonna go away. So your creative desire, it's not gonna go away. But what happens is, right when we start pulling hair or grabbing things, what are we told? No, that's not what we do, right? That is not how we express ourselves. And then, going down into toddler years, I had like a client tell me this very intense story about how they tried to express themselves and they were just shot down, so it could be pre-verbal, it could be a young person, it could be even into college. So I've had clients where they've had these experiences in college where I've had these experiences where teachers, professors will make students cry, and so what does that do to us? It shuts us down and it gets us into this comparison. So automatically our even pre-verbal brains, they start to kind of try to fit in, right? Fit into, how am I going to be seen? How am I going to be loved? How am I going to fit into this social structure? So this is very deep. And a lot of this stuff happens, why I say it happens in the subconscious is because this is before your logical brain comes online. So I like to describe this as you have when I'm working with clients or teaching, you have your younger self. So it's the creative, the exploration part, that desire, that wanting to create, that is your younger self, your inner child self. But also the subconscious and the younger self is that scared self, is that comparing, oh my gosh, how am I going to fit in? We call it sometimes fawning, where you're trying to create something that everybody's going to like, or you're paralyzed, right? So how do you react think about how you react when you start to hear these voices or you start to get into comparison. How do you react? Do you shut down? That could be the way that you learned to deal with this anxiety as a child. So you just give up, right? I'm not doing it right. Oh, I have this too. Like, I have this a lot because my parent kind of came and took over, right? So we had to do it their way. Their way was the best way. So I just kind of gave up. Like, I'm not good enough. I'm just gonna give up. It's not worth it, right? Or do you push harder and try to make everything perfect, right? So perfectionism can be that fawning, or wanting to make everything perfect. So which way do you go when you get into these cycles, right? And so then once we get into these kind of cycles of like giving up or making everything perfect, and then you kind of hate it, you hate the process. So that gets us into this sense of disappointment in ourselves. Why can't I do this? Why can't I make this? Why can't I get what's in my head out? And I want to tell you, it's deeper than just forcing yourself to do it. It's subconscious, right? And so then we get into guilt and procrastination, right? Just feeling bad, procrastinating, not doing it. So where are you in this cycle? How can we get out of this? So the other part of ourself, the logical, analytical part of ourself, is our adult self. And so our adult self has all these tools and resources that we've gained throughout our life, and we can actually begin to reparent. And this is how reparent our younger self, that scared but excited part of ourselves. And so how do we do this? This is the way to move us from that cycle of that guilt cycle to the flow cycle. And how do we do this? So the adult self can make space for the younger self. It can bring compassion to that younger self. So what does the younger creative part of us need? Scared part of us. They need compassion. Actually, first they need exploration. They need a space, time and space to create. Being so free to be able to express themselves, to be able to make mistakes, to learn. So we can actually create this for them by using our adult logical brain. We can create boundaries. We can set aside time and block off our schedule. We can do that for that younger self. And then we can bring compassion and begin to reparent our younger self. So I work a lot with my clients on this. Again, we have to get into that subconscious programming. So this is not going to be a one and done. So if you think, however old you are, if you're 50, if you're 20, if you're 15, however old you are, that programming, that wiring has been in your brain for a long time. And it's not just in your brain, it's in your body. I have exercises for my clients that I use, which helps to get them in a hypnotic state so that you're more able to access your subconscious. But let's just do one little thing here to try to help us get into that state. So when you're in kind of a calm state, so let's say that you are in this process, you get into creating, and then that negativity kicks in, right? That younger self starts freaking out and all those negative. That's why I never want to be critical of the inner critic. I never want to be mean to the inner critic, because it's actually just your younger self freaking out. If you're in the space where you're creating and all those negative thoughts come, try to have some distance and get to a calm place. So what this does is it allows us to use our entire brain instead of that freaking out brain, right? And so you're able to access your prefrontal cortex, all of your brain, in order to be that adult. So as that more calm, if you can just take a couple breaths, or you can just take a walk, kind of distance yourself, and then you can imagine yourself, your younger self. And if you can do this by closing your eyes, you can even put your hand on your heart. You can just imagine them and listen to what they're saying. They could be saying, I'm scared, I'm not doing this right. Whatever it is that they're freaking out, they're scared about, try to see them and try to notice actually the feelings that are going on in the body. Because your body, your memories are in your body, right? They're not out here somewhere. So what you're actually doing when you're doing this is you are activating these neurochemicals that bring trust and safety to your body. And so just take a couple minutes to see them and see if you can find, as your adult self, find some compassion for that younger part of yourself. You might even see like a memory that comes up. You might see like, oh, when I did this, when I was 5 or 6 or 7, like I got shut down, right? And so we can try to just imagine them in that scenario and bring compassion in. See if you can find compassion for that younger self. And you can just observe them and kind of ask yourself or ask them what they need right now. What do they need right now from you? It might just be to talk. We don't want to be the overwhelming parent, right? We want to be the parent that gives them space and time to explore and express themselves. So that's what most of us haven't gotten as a child. We haven't gotten the ability to express ourselves. So listen to what they need. And then if they need a hug or if they need to be held, do that. And then verbally tell them, I love doing this, tell them how proud you are of them, that they are expressing themselves. Just tell them how proud you are of them. And then tell them that you want to give them space and time to play and explore. This all starts with playing and exploration and having the freedom to make mistakes. That allows us to flow into the creative process with patience. So you'll find, and just spend as much time as you want to with them until it feels like you're kind of complete. And it's hard to remember to do this every time, but it can be really powerful, especially when you do it, have an exercise like the recordings that I have. So this is how I work with my clients. And if you are interested in coaching with me, let me know, send me a message or check out my website. But I hope this has kind of helped you to understand that it's not you. Everybody experiences this. It's a part of our conditioning. It's part of our human nature. But the more that we can bring compassion in and time and space for play and exploration, the easier it'll be to move through this process. So hopefully this was helpful. If this was helpful, please like or subscribe to this channel.